Hey, take a look at the bowl school this morning, and we've got some signings and college commitments. Always good to see. And let me list everybody here. Cole Brewer, Rolls-Holman Institute of Technology. This is cross-country and track and field. Caleb Brigman, Jacksonville University. A shout-out to Miles Rivera going to Iona University as well. To run football, Carson Shockley, University of Delaware. Men's lacrosse, Bryce Hogan, Sewanee Lee Crote, Air Force Academy. Another Bulldog going to the Air Force. Men's swimming, Jaden Bunt, Seton Hall University. Women's swimming, Suki Bergsteiner, University of Tampa. And Madison Russell, Nova Southeastern University. A total of 46 bowl student athletes have been signed and committed to play at the collegiate level in various sports. Very cool. I know there's some other signings across the area. You can always send them in. We don't usually do signings here on No Gate Fees, but what the heck? We incorporate it into another edition of No Gate Fees presented by Nimnick Buick GMC here on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. Brent Martineau along with Jason Hamby. And yeah, we talk high school baseball and softball. We talk youth sports. We celebrate all of high school sports. So it's nice to mention those kids going to play at the next level. We'll have committed to the uncommitted this week, a baseball player from down in St. Augustine who most likely will be playing at the next level. We'll tell you more about him in just a little bit. And we know Grace Jones is playing at the next level in softball. She's going to Mercer. For my opinion and my money, she's the best player in softball in Northeast Florida. She will join us along with Coach Casey Epley today on the show. For Episcopal is one of the top-ranked teams in the state of Florida and continues to have a fantastic season. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. Season 2, Episode 5 of No Gate Fees, Jason. The FHSAA, and I've got to remind people of this, and maybe we do this next week on the show. Maybe it's this week. Maybe I'll just say it. But I wanted to – there's so much confusion, I think, in the way high school baseball, softball, and other sports postseason works, that I think sometimes even the coaches, now I hope most of the coaches know, but I know a lot of the players and parents don't understand it. I get this question a lot of conversation. Like in baseball and softball, we wait until Tuesday. On Tuesday morning, FHSAA comes out with their fresh rankings, and they just started 3 weeks ago. Now, Max Preps, which they build their ranking system off but don't use every single part of their formula, from what I understand, Max Preps does it twice a week, which is kind of cool to see the updates.
Right.
But you'll get somebody to say, hey, Providence is ranked X in Max Preps. Well, that's not the one that matters. The one that matters is in the FHSAA rankings. That determines the districts and who's going to host and who's going to be the higher seeds and who's going to get a bye. That determines the regionals and the top 8 in the region and who's going to potentially get home games, who's going to get at-large bids. And then, of course, there's the state rankings, which really are probably just more fun than anything else, but it goes in line with everything else. So I think people are still new to this and don't fully understand how everything works. And I'm going to ask Coach Epley today, but I think I'm right on this, that the district – so in high school baseball and softball, and I know some of the sports like flag football and lacrosse are already into district championships or even the state tournament, but in high school baseball and softball, this is the last week that will count toward your district seeding. And I think I'm correct on that. The last week that will count toward district seeding. Next week, you still play more games, but those don't count toward the district seeding. Like if it fluctuates, it doesn't impact. Now, those games still count along with the districts for how the regionals will end up working in a couple of weeks and who gets the at-large bids and whatever that selection might look like based on who wins district championships, et cetera, because there'll be 4 district champs and 4 at-large bids in every region, in every classification, if you're following along. But this, if you play this week, I think by the end of Friday or Saturday, I think they counted, you'll know who the number 1 seed, number 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seed, et cetera, will be in the districts a couple of weeks from now based off this week's, or really next Tuesday's FHSAA rankings, even if you play beyond Tuesday. So I think I'm correct there. I'll double check I'm correct there, but I think that's what we've been working with the last couple of years. And I actually like the system. And I don't know if everybody does like the system. And I know the FHSAA has a bunch of issues, and I know football issues are different than basketball issues are different than baseball, softball, and other sports issues. But I actually think the system, Hamby, that they've put in place is pretty good. They value strength of schedule, which means you get better competition in a lot of games. They take other things into consideration. I would look at the baseball, softball landscape, and I would see how people are ranked, and I'm saying they're pretty close. Like my eyes and what I know, they look pretty close to how I would rank the teams. Now, when we do our power polls, I do not go off their rankings and just list their top 5.
Right.
I think there is some ambiguity in it. I think there's some subjectivity to it. But the bottom line is, I think overall it's pretty good. It gives a chance for a team that might have had an injury. Take Clay softball. I think they had an injury to their pitcher earlier this year. Got off to a really rough start. I think she's back. They're way more competitive now. They could be someone that could be dangerous in the district tournament. And if they win, now that they're healthy, that district champ goes to the postseason in the state tournament. But if you put all the work in all year and had a good year and just slip up in a semifinal or a district championship, you're not ousted because you get an at-large bid, or you've done the work to at least be considered for an at-large bid. I think it's the best of both worlds. I think they've kind of got it figured out in a good way. I don't know if you'd agree.
And you said the FHSA is the one that does not incorporate margin of victory, right? Max Preps does, but they do not.
So again, here's the one issue that I have with the FHSAA when it comes to this. I don't know why they can't be transparent, and maybe they are, and I just don't see it or don't know it, but I don't think anybody has the actual formula. I don't know if people know how it is computer generated. I don't know if that would be something that we could digest. But when you don't know the formula, you're still guessing, and you really don't know if it's like, how can you debate it? And I think actually the FHSAA likes that because there's enough debate about what they do. But if you can't debate their scoring system, then that's one thing they don't have to worry about.
Right.
But to your point, my understanding is if you lose 10-0 or win 10-0 in a game, Max Preps takes that strength of victory and factors it in. If you lose 10-0, win 10-0, FHSAA says it's no different than losing 5-4. Mm-hmm. And I think I like that out of the FHSAA too, because, like this year, there's a lot of haves and I wouldn't say have-nots, but there's separation between the elite teams and not. And so if you're beating somebody 17-4 just because they ended up on your schedule, they're usually pretty good, but they're having a down year, I don't know if you should get extra rewarded for that. Max Preps rewards that. FHSAA says, hey, it's just a W. I actually kind of appreciate that out of the FHSAA.
Well, I mean, I would say that it deserves a little bit of consideration as long as it's balanced with the strength of the opponent. If it's just a blank slate 13-run win over a team that's really struggling or having a down year, as long as whatever formula includes that team is having a down year, then I think it should be included at some level in some capacity, because one team beating Clay, for example, by 1 and one team beating Clay by 8 is a big difference. And because I think in school ball, a lot more than even travel ball, a lot of times you're still seeing there's few enough games to where you're still seeing every school's top guys. You got 2-3 games a week, 3 games max. For the most part, you're still seeing the top guys. You're not seeing, they're not. It's very, very. It doesn't happen a lot where a team is trotting out their 6th best guy to start a ball game.
Yeah, I think especially we see this. I know the baseball and softball world so much better. And so I have this to lean back on, at least right now. And we say this all the time, and you're going to see it later in our high five power polls. I have no idea who the top 5 teams are in public schools. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I have no idea. Like, it is, you throw them up, and if you play on a Tuesday versus a Thursday versus a Friday, it changes. And we had 2 huge wins yesterday in the area in high school baseball and softball. University Christian beat the number 1 ranked team in the state, Trinity Christian. They got a really good pitcher for UC. And he held Trinity down, and they got a big hit at the end, and they won the game. They're a good team, but they threw their best arm. Mm-hmm. If they throw a different arm, Trinity wins that game.
It's probably not close. Because
if that guy's on his Friday to Friday schedule or Thursday to Thursday schedule or Thursday to Friday schedule, well, then they don't probably win that game. So that's the difference. By the way, we also got a big win with Oakleaf, another great performance to beat Baldwin at Baldwin, who was previously undefeated. So 2 huge, I would say, upsets, but really good wins in high school baseball and softball last night. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, Hamby. I think the only part of that is, does that become too much for the system? Does it become too much to be able to evaluate it? That I think they have to kind kind of like blueprinted in a way that you can just punch stuff in quickly and get it done. But I just have to be honest. I've been critical of the FHSAA at various times. I think they have it pretty good. Like, I think it's a pretty good system. And the reason why I think it's a pretty good system is because my eyes actually match up, or what I think matches up, with how the rankings match up. Like, I could sit here and debate. I think in girls softball, I think Middleburg is like 6th in the state. I think Episcopal 7th in the state. I think Baldwin's 11th in the state. I can make the case for you that Baldwin's the best team out of those three, but I also think Episcopal can make they're the best team, and Middleburg's had a heck of a year. So they're all between 6 and 11. Like, that, there's whatever. That's subjectivity. But they are the three best teams in the area, in my estimation. You'll see that later on in the polls. And the state says the same thing.
Right.
Like, I'm cool with that. Again, I know we get a bunch of complaining at playoff time in other sports. I think in baseball and softball right now, they've got it pretty good. So much so, like, I do wonder this. I'll just take you. This is Dad talking, and obviously we're watching Creekside, and Creekside was 7-7. They've won 6 in a row. They've jumped until last night, but they had jumped 120 spots in a 10-day span in the state. They had gone from 9 to 3 in the regional rankings. Well, they knocked off Bowles, Tokoi Creek, Bishop Kenny, who were all like top 25.
Right.
And so you get a bump for that. Now, what's interesting is they lose to Clay, who's pretty good. I think they're top 60 in the state. They'll play Trinity, who's number 1 in the state. They'll play St. John's, who's number 11 in the state. And I'm thinking, I don't even know if they have to win another game, because strength of schedule is just going to keep going up, up, up. Right? I don't know where that balance is. Do they have to win because it's more important than strength of schedule? I have to assume. But I've seen some teams ranked like in the state or in a region, like 3rd in their region, and their record's like 9-10 because they have great strength of schedule. So it is a valued part of the formula for sure, is strength of schedule, which I think creates better Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays action on the diamond or on the court or wherever else we're doing this, because teams and coaches are forced to play quality opponents. You can't just, if you're going to play a weak schedule, you better boat race that schedule.
Right.
If you're going to get in. There's no room for error in most parts. All right, let's do this. We're going to take a quick break because we have an early guest, Casey Epley from Episcopal, Grace Jones from Episcopal. We'll talk a little softball. We do have another topic. Like, that wasn't even the topic today, but I was going to go with specialization, which we talked about in the past on this show, and it kind of is specialization, but I'm wondering, this one came to my mind last night, what's the age where there's the most growth in youth sports? And is that cookie cutter, or does it change throughout? Be interested to see any of your thoughts, including Jason Hamby's. Maybe we'll ask Coach that same thing. It's coming up on No Gate Fees, presented by Nimnick Buick GMC on the new Action Sports Jacks 24/7. You can find us on actionnewsjacks.com and the Action News Jacks app. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnick Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnick family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnick Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnick Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains, and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnick Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
Get outside.
Yeah.
Make friends. Learn life lessons with the First Tee.
Golf is kind of like life in a way.
You can take some stuff you learn on the course and take that and use it in every single day life.
Donate to First Tee's Play Day campaign and everybody wins.
For every $10 you've donated, you're entered to win a free round with a buddy
at the stadium course, home of the players, with this guy, Len Matisse. Scan the code on your screen or visit actionnewsjacks.com to learn more.
It's the fishing tournament everyone wants to get in, and it's time for you to register. More than 650 boats entered last summer in the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. Mark the calendar now, June 8th. This is fun for the entire family, and everyone has a chance to win big. Limited boundaries, no bait buying, no checkout. Cash prizes for the top 25 places, cash prizes for the top 10 lady anglers, and prizes for the top 15 junior anglers. The grand prize, this Yellowfin Bay boat with a 200 horsepower Yamaha and a Ameritrail trailer. The value, over $100,000. It's the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout. Early entry until the end of May is open and $250. If you don't catch the big one, don't worry. Just catch any size kingfish and have a chance to win $10,000 with the Nimnik Lucky Ticket. OldSchoolKingfish.com. Register early until May 31st at OldSchoolKingfish.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back to No Gate Fees, presented by Nimnik Buick GMC. Talking some youth topics. In fact, that topic will be, we talked a lot about the FHSAA and the new rankings coming out. We'll have our high five power polls committed to the uncommitted. But the topic we'll talk about in just a bit is what age is most impactful for development of a youth player? Maybe any sport, doesn't matter. It's not always baseball and softball. Any sport, youth sports. Does it vary from kid to kid? I probably could make the case that it does. Brent Martineau, Jason Hamby. I'll also make the case that the age group Jason Hamby is coaching right now doesn't matter at all.
No shot.
I might. Not really, doesn't matter at all. But we'll get into that part in just a little bit. Let's welcome to the show right now. We go to Episcopal. We're going to talk a little softball. And on your screen left is Grace Jones. She's headed to Mercer, and she's the senior for Episcopal. And on your right is Coach Casey Epley, who's done a great job with the Episcopal program. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hopefully I got you out of English class or math class or something, Grace.
Yes, you did.
Well, thanks to your teacher, soon to be professors, I guess, at the next level. Congrats on a great start and great season so far as you get down to the end. Coach, you're playing really well.
Yes, the girls have really been pushing, getting ready for postseason, and just taking one step at a time and learning from every game. They're doing well. Proud of them.
Well, you got the ace right there next to you. It's pretty good when you have that on the hill, huh?
Absolutely, 100%, no doubt.
Grace, how's the season going for you? Obviously, the record says pretty good. I think at 18-1, and you've been performing really well. But you feel pretty good. You've been pitching and playing as well as you've had in the past.
Yes, I feel like I'm a lot looser this season, so it's been going really well. And me and the girls have gotten a lot closer, so it's been really fun.
Coach Epley, this is a team. It looks like it's not just about Grace, and I know it's never just about one player, but she's had to carry a lot of the load over the last few years for you guys, and you can't hide that. But it looks like you guys have a little more depth and contributors, and some of the young players that you've played over the last few years are starting to step up.
Definitely. And the nice thing is, even though a lot of them are young, we have a really large sophomore class. They've all played, at pretty high levels as far as like travel ball, but also, at least 4 of them have been to the Final Four that are in that sophomore class. So, they've been under pressure and they've been there. So hopefully they play loose and have fun and just compete.
Grace, how hard is it to play loose? It comes with a little bit of pressure when everybody knows what you've done, and they're trying to beat you guys. You get everybody's best shot, so I know you got to feel that. But can you still enjoy it? Can you have fun with it the senior year, or is it tough when you got to deliver almost every night?
It's definitely tough, but I feel like this season that's where I've grown the most, is not letting the pressure get to me and really just knowing that my teammates got my back and they're gonna put up runs for me.
What's the balance for you in trying to stay as fresh as possible? You guys have a crazy hard district with West Nassau and Baldwin in it. And obviously you got to deliver your best stuff down the stretch, but do you feel pretty good? Are you in pretty health and body feels pretty good at this time of year, even though it's been a long season?
Yes, I definitely feel good. It's harder at the beginning of the season just because I haven't pitched as much as I have, this part of the season, but I feel good. I feel fresh. It's going well.
Coach, you matched up with everybody. The win against Oakleaf, some of your other bigger wins. I think you only lost to Calvary Christian. I don't know a lot about them, but I'm assuming they're pretty good because they're usually pretty good in everything. But has some of that scheduling and some of the wins given this group confidence once you guys get to district play in a couple of weeks when you got to play some really good teams?
Yes, I'm hoping that, they feel that. The games that we played, a lot of them have been close games too. We've had really tight games with Nice and also with Paxson. So they've really, come through in the clutch and, walked off with a W, even when it wasn't necessarily easy to do. So, and different people have come through. So that's been really fun to see and exciting. So.
All right, brag on Grace a little bit. What makes her so good? She's had a tremendous high school career. We have a lot of good players in the area, but block your ears, Grace. I always say I think you're the best player in the area. But what makes her so good, Coach? You've coached a lot of different players. Your kids have had a lot of success. You know the sport really well. What's the separator for Grace?
As I've mentioned before, she does it on the mound. She does it on the mound and at the plate. She's such a threat offensively and defensively. And she's a competitor. And like she mentioned, with her mindset this year and just going in and competing and not trying to feel like she has to do so much and just do her part and whatever happens, I feel like she's in a good place mentally. And, she it's tough. They walk her, a lot of teams walk her. So, but she gets on base and people, move her around and we score runs. So, bring it. Let's go. So, yeah.
Hey, Grace, I can't promise you won't get walked next Tuesday. I'm not sure. I don't know the game plan, but I can't promise. And by the way, I'm still a little upset that you got walked late in the game against Baldwin last year, and even had the Baldwin fans upset about that one. So that's how much they're walking Grace. Wait, so what are you going to do at Mercer? Are you going to do both, or do they see you more a pitcher? I mean, do you going to have a chance to play both? What are the thoughts there?
So I was like originally recruited just to hit and play defense, but then after I had like a really good junior season, told me that they would find me definitely a place to pitch in the rotation.
Yeah, we got a nice little Jacksonville contingent up there. You looking forward to playing for Mercer?
I am. We have a bunch of girls, and like Hannah Rivers from Trinity, I'm super excited. She's my roommate next year.
Oh, good for you. Oh, shoot, name escapes me right now. Who else is up from Clay? Gabby Ellis playing there right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good. Coach, why I love like JU and UNF and all our local schools, but how did we let Grace Jones get away from Jacksonville?
I think she wanted to at least get away a little bit, and I don't know. I guess you looked at JU a little bit, and they were, definitely on the radar. But I think she made a big connection with Lindsay at Mercer, and they really connected. And I think she's excited to play for her.
Yeah, it's a cool spot up there. It's a great facility. I know the coach is somewhat new, so a program kind of rebuilding, and looks like they're off to a good start. So that is fun. All right, I'm going to ask you guys a question that we've kind of got going today, and it'll be interesting to get it from Grace's point of view too. But Coach Epley, I mean, again, you've been coaching a while, but your kids have gone through this, and I'm curious to see where you think the biggest impact is in youth sports on, like, what age group? We argue, like, hey, are we taking it too serious at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, right? 13, 14 years old, depending on what sport. I mean, you're just trying to get used to the big field in baseball compared to the small field that you just came off. High school development is totally different than maybe even college development. Do you have a feel for that with your kids or kids that you've seen gone through the program where kids take, like, their biggest step, where you can impact them the most?
I feel like when they're young, they need to learn to love the game. So, you can't put so much pressure. But I think a lot of kids try to go play for big teams that they're going to be recruited at 12U, and that's not happening. It's not. I mean, or 14, So I think you got to balance with, your talent and be honest with yourself, where you stand. But the biggest thing, I feel like at such a young age, we're so focused on the recruiting process. And I don't know what the answer is, but the stress that these kids go through with it is tough. It's tough as a coach. And I'll be honest with you, I've said this for years. Everybody says, well, we go talk to their travel ball coach. We go talk to their travel ball coach. Travel ball coach doesn't know them like their high school coach. They come out to practice every day, 5 days a week, sometimes more. And you see them at their worst, as opposed to just seeing them on a weekend when they're going to do, something they hopefully love. But you see them after a failed test, you see them after a breakup, whatever. You just see a lot of different things. So I feel like coaches need to look more at the high school coaches and see what kind of kid is this kid? Can they handle it academically, and so forth? Because it's a grind, 100%. It's a grind.
I love what you say there. I think that's a great answer, and I think it's more like college, right, at the high school level. It's not like summer ball at the college level. Right. And a lot of respect to Grace and a lot of other folks out there. Kids go through a lot in high school, too. I mean, you've got to navigate through a bunch of stuff. You said it, from tests to expectations to then go and perform every night, especially when you're Grace and on the mound. But I'll ask you in a little bit different way, Grace. I don't know what year maybe you thought was the most impactful. Maybe you have an answer for that. But I kind of like a snapshot. What do you go back to if you look through the years of all the years you've been playing softball? Like, what kind of pops into your mind? Is it something when you were younger? Is it some travel ball fun tournament? Is it the bus rides here in high school to away games? I mean, what kind of jumps out to you that sticks in your memory, at least for now? And hopefully you'll go make a lot more at Mercer.
I definitely think like the most important, sort of age is like from like freshman to sophomore year, at least for softball, just because that's when they're looking to recruit you the most. And I just remember, like, especially recruiting is so stressful, as Coach Epley said, and I know I was so stressed, and it was just like, having to tell myself, like, I play this because I love it, not just because I want to go to college and do it. And even if I didn't, because when I was younger, I always wanted to play for like a big Power 5 school, and that just didn't happen. So I had to like be like, I love this sport so much, like I'll play at any level, any coach that gives me a chance to play, like that's where I want to be. And I feel like in those years and now, like I just really like found my love for the sport, and like I will literally do this at any level, like even if it's not, intramural or whatever, like I want to play softball.
That's a great attitude to Coach. I think I said this correctly. This week we'll lock up the district seating, right? After this week in the FHSAA. Mm-hmm. And do you like the FHSAA system right now? I think it's pretty good with the district winners and then the 4 at large. Have they kind of figured it out pretty much the way it should be?
I think so. I mean, it's tough when you're trying to try out different things and look at different lineups and stuff, because every game matters. So that can be, challenging, but it also, I think it's good. So far, I still haven't figured it totally out because he's still trying to go, well, how are they deciding this? But yeah, I think it's, close enough, as close as you can probably get.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, like I said it earlier, and I don't know if you guys could hear, but I mean, if you take Middleburg and you guys who are, I think, 6 or 7 in the state, and then Baldwin, 11 in the state, I think you could sit there and say, like, well, any one of those 3 teams are arguably the best in the area and some of the best teams in the state. But, I mean, you're all in a pile of between 5 teams and top 11 in the state. It seems like it makes sense. So I got to believe what they're doing is at least working. But if you want to give Grace a little bit of a rest, next Tuesday would be a good time to do it. Actually, don't give her a rest. No, the only reason I'm looking forward to that game, it's the one I've been looking forward to all year, because I want to see Grace pitch, and it'll be fun to see that matchup and at your ballpark. Thanks for playing the Knights, especially at your ballpark.
Yes, we're excited. I know it'll be a great game for sure.
You should be really excited after the Knights look last night. I won't comment on that any further. All right, Grace Jones and Coach Epley, good luck the rest of the way. We'll keep following you, and good luck at Mercer too, Grace.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. Good to have you guys, Grace and Coach Epley from the Episcopal Eagles. And I think it's really, I say this a lot. We kind of, I've said this in the past. I shouldn't say I say it a lot, but Grace is a really good player, and it's been fun to watch. She's had to carry a heavy load for a lot of years, and they've got a good team around her. Not that they didn't have before, but Episcopal Hamby plays sometimes they'll play like 6th graders and 7th graders. And now some of those younger kids, I think, have gotten a little bit older and experience, and they're a little bit better. They can do more than just Grace. But there's a lot on some of these kids, especially on that softball field when you're pitching every night. I'd say this to you guys, you sometimes, Hamby, in baseball, you get a guy pitching once a week, right? There's a lot on that guy. That pitcher is tough. But in softball, a lot of these pitchers pitch every night.
Right.
And when you're playing that tough schedule and you're like Episcopal and you're 7th in the state and people are coming for you, that's a big win. That's a big game on their schedule. I think there's a lot. And that coach just said it brilliantly. I think she said it because she's had kids that gone through it and still are playing at the next level. And I think she said it almost from a parental point of view, where there's tests, there's bad days, somebody got mad, like boyfriend, girlfriend, for all this stuff, that the kids have to go through. Not say you don't have to go through that in other walks of life, but if you're going to go do that and then go perform with all the expectations on people that are some of the stars in the area, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot for a 15, 16, 17 year-old person, but Grace Jones has handled it very well. I think she's fantastic. We have a lot of good players in the area, but she has really lived up to it. And if I gave her your numbers, it would be ridiculous. Like, seriously, the numbers, I don't even have them in front of me. I haven't looked at them in a while, but I want to say I think she went 2 for 2 last night with like 3 walks. She's probably hitting close to 600.
Oh.
I think her on-base percentage has to be, it's over 700. It might be even more. And just think how hard that is to do. That means, you got to get on, every time. Just to even keep that. And then I think her ERA is right around half a run.
So she's untouchable.
She's been really good. Like, and I think what's pretty cool about it, like she doesn't throw no hitters every game. People can get a hit here or there. In softball, you get a lot of you get a lot of cheap hits in softball. And so my guess is she probably gives up some of those. But she's been a strikeout machine. I don't know the numbers on strike. She's up over 200 for the year, which if you start projecting out what she's done in her career, I got to believe she's around 1,000 strikeouts. I can't imagine how many people do that in their high school softball career. I'm not familiar enough with those kind of numbers. I don't have a strikeout pitcher, so I don't pay attention to those numbers as much. But her and Sophia Kardatsky from University Christian have been the top 2 players in the area and dominant players, and they've lived up to it. Hats off to them for living up to it because it's not easy to really dominate the way they've dominated. So it'll be a good postseason. In that Class 3A in this district, you have Baldwin, you have Episcopal, and you have West Nassau. And I know you played at Providence, and so you're familiar with it, and it's the same type of thing in the boys' side. Class 3A has Episcopal was 15-5 this year, Providence, Trinity Christian #1 in the state, Bowles, Bishop Snyder, who has a Florida guy, and if you get him once,
good luck.
You could be done.
Right.
I think Fernandina Beach is in that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is loaded in 3A. It's amazing on both sides of baseball and softball world. So pretty good stuff. All right, hey, back to the conversation we were just having with them. And I know it's kind of a tricky question, but the reason I brought it up is I was thinking back, like when I played in college, and I had like really 1 year where I played. Very average. Wouldn't even make the college team right now. But I got fortunate enough to make it back then. And I had one good year my junior year. And I would say that was probably my best year of ball in my life. Now, what I don't know is if I just played better or did I develop as a player? Like, was I more impacted by the coaching? What I really figured out is I got some good hitting tips and I hit better. Like, just something clicked. Was I strong enough by that time? I don't know. Like, we're looking at a guy like Jack Caglione at Florida, and he's meeting skill set with physical presence. Right? So at a young age, most kids don't have physical presence. If they do, they're usually 11 or 12 years old, and sometimes that's their peak because they're just so much bigger than everybody. Like 13, 14, if you're looking at this from a parent standpoint in travel ball world and everything else, from a baseball standpoint, 13 and 14 to me, I'm not telling you they don't mean anything, but they don't mean as much as you think they do. At that age,
I would disagree.
Well, here's a why. But here's why because you don't think like a parent. You're thinking from a development standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm thinking from a parent standpoint, parents are like, hey, you got to go play for your high school coach. Where am I going to go play at high school? I should go play for that travel team, right? I'm going to the big field. Well, 13, 14, you're not getting recruited at 13, 14.
No.
So you're avoiding that end. You're making an adjustment from small field to big field.
Right.
And you're also really learning to play the game because the game is played on the big field.
Right.
It's not just kind of roll the ball out on the small field. So I think parents think, oh, this is huge. I mean, this is the big field stuff. This is where it all starts. It's like, no, that's actually a great point for development.
Right.
Rather than player performance.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody's so locked into player performance all the time. It's like, it doesn't matter if you hit 350 at 13 years old. Nobody's watching.
Right. And I think, but yeah, that's what I would argue for development's sake. You could argue that 13, 14 is right up there with the most important because, in my opinion,
in baseball,
specifically in baseball, if you don't play travel ball in middle school, good luck making your high school team. I'm almost to that point where it is tough. You're just going to be so far behind everybody else your age at 13 and 14 if all you've ever done was you played rec and all-stars in elementary school and then middle school you just played for your school team. You got no shot, as popular as travel ball is, against the rest of the competition of cracking any sort of a starting lineup at the high school level. You got to play a lot more games and face a lot better competition year-round, 7th grade, 8th grade, if you ever want to crack a lineup in varsity.
That's interesting. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with it. We started to see my wife Steph coached volleyball in New York, like before the kids were born, actually like right even when the kids were like 2 years old. And you really started to see it then. This was back in 2005, 2005. Well, she would have been like 2003, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. Actually, it would have been probably 4, 5, 6, 7. And you started to see girls that played the travel volleyball, which, by the way, that was like not even 20 years ago, and it was really just starting, at least in volleyball, at least up in Albany, New York at the time. And I remember having these conversations like, if they don't play in the off season, they're not going to be able to play in high school.
Yeah.
Like whether it's make your team or at least get in the rotation of players. So I get what you're saying there. Like and a lot of people in baseball, Jason, they don't even play middle school baseball in the public schools.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A lot of folks don't.
Some of our kids don't.
Yeah. Right or wrong. I'm not saying. Listen, here's the deal.
Individual.
There's no blueprint to do it. You got to pick what's the best way, which is hard because everybody wants to follow a blueprint. Everybody wants to give you a blueprint. Everybody wants to keep up with the Joneses and do it the way the neighbor did it.
Right.
Well, it's not really always the best way. So I hear you, though. I think that's the dynamic. We just had a conversation about the interesting part of the dynamic from a parental point of view and probably a coaching point of view. It's a great time for development because really it might be the 2 years where there's the least amount of stress on a player.
Oh, yeah. Performance-wise, 100%. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares.
Listen, there's a lot of years that nobody cares what your game changer batting average was, right?
Yeah.
But especially at that time, you really shouldn't care.
Right.
You really shouldn't care. Are they getting better? Are they knowing the game? Are they getting a little bit bigger? They're starting to grow. I vary about getting in the weight room and stuff like that with people. I debate. But yeah, that's pretty fascinating. Look, how about you as a player? What did you see your biggest development? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think my freshman year definitely saw the most development on the mound because I went from being a two-way guy, played middle school, but played travel ball year-round. I stopped playing travel ball 15 to 17 and played my summer before senior year.
Okay.
So I played 3 years. I only did school ball and practice with the school ball team in the fall and stuff like that. And my junior year, or my freshman year, I went from being two-way guy to I don't know if I could pitch in high school to, I'm actually need to
just focus on pitching.
Well, I wasn't a PO until like late in my junior year, but freshman year was when I figured out, I'm getting a lot of guys out my freshman year of JV and everybody's still bigger than me. So if I can carve out I can carve out a role here, and that was something I never knew what I'd be able to, because I was small. I didn't never lit up a radar gun in my life, but freshman year is when I really developed. Sink it, spin it, locate it, figure out what my strengths were, and kind of went from there.
That's cool. Yeah, and I think that part probably varies for a lot of people. We've seen it. I mean, you see the development, kids get a big jump, or physically, that's a thing. I know with Ty, that's always been a thing physically. This is probably his biggest jump physically. Finally get over 150 pounds this time, but just a late bloomer. But I love what Casey Epley said. The young age is important to teach them to love the game.
Right.
And that's probably the biggest piece. How do you, and it's a challenge now, but how do kids still love the game like the way Grace Jones was talking about loving the game, whether she played at Florida State, whether she played at Mercer, whether she played at Flagler, whether she played intramural softball, but she wants to keep playing. How do you do that? I don't know how that happened. I don't think anybody's got a written answer for that.
I think travel ball has really expedited that process because you're going to figure out a lot because of the grind of it and how the volume of practices and games you're around. You're going to figure out a lot sooner than you would have if you really love it.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. Here's the thing I always say about loving the game, and this is an interesting distinction because we hear the word burnout a lot. And while I'll believe in burnout, I think burnout and love of the game are closely tied together because, in my opinion, burnout happens quicker when you're not performing well.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to fall out of love with anything you do in life if you're not performing well.
Right.
It's not as fun.
Yep.
So how do you get through that muddy stage when you're not playing well? Do you simply say, I'm burnt out? I think it can be an easy excuse. Do some kids get burnt out? Absolutely. But I don't know if as many people get burnt out. Like, if I'm not good at this anymore, I could leave and be like, yeah, I'm just burnt out. I'm tired of doing radio and TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's an easy way out sometimes. Be like, I'm just tired of it. But the beauty is there's nothing more fun for me. And I tweeted this, I think, about somebody from JU recently, Hodges. I saw him get a game-winning hit. And we see so many of the kids now. The beauty for me is you see a kid and you followed them and they're like, oh, that guy was really good. And then this happened, or he got hurt, and this and this and this. All this adversity. And then all of a sudden, like a couple years later, he's popping up and playing college ball somewhere and he's still playing. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool that they're still playing. That checked the box of, man, they love the game. They love to play. Like, that is so cool. Like, I think that is one of the most coolest things that I see, because you get to know kids and you know kids' names, even if you don't know them really well. They're like, man, I remember they were going through a little tough time, because that's sports.
Right.
And especially this sport, baseball, that's sports. And then they come out on the other side. Oh, I love that. I love that. I think that's the coolest thing. And I think that's probably one of the coolest things, even with our kids. Like, I say this, I don't love it in the real time, and I'm honest about that, but you love the ups and downs. And a lot of times you like the downs more parentally. Mm-hmm. Like, in hindsight, you don't love it in real time. Like, it's just, no, you don't. Brutal. But you realize, like, that, and we all do, right? I mean, any adversity in life, you get that sense, you're like, man, I'm kind of glad I went through that. Mm-hmm. Like, didn't Trevor say that yesterday?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, hey, I can take some of those things and move it forward. Mm-hmm. And I know those become a little bit cliche, but at the youth level, that's a barrier now. If you don't handle, and I would say especially today's day and age, like, where do you learn to fail as a kid? I mean, sports is a great place to learn to fail as a kid. Because there's kind of a society trying to pick us everybody up all the time, right? And just kind of, all right, get through to the next thing.
You go on a one for your last 18. You'll learn real fast.
You got to learn to deal with it.
Yep.
You got to learn to come out of it. You can't give like that's but that's not just baseball and softball and other sports. That's all sports.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of sports. I love that about sports. There's so many good things about sports, and I love that part of it. It's a great place to fail and learn and pick yourself up off the mat, which is really cool. All right, man, we got on a lot of different things like that. I don't know what the hell that topic was today, but we got all over the place on it. That was my bad. From FHSA rankings to I just felt like I was on the couch for a couple minutes. I probably need the couch as a parent sometimes as this high school career winds down, but we absolutely love it. We've got Committed to the Uncommitted coming up next. This is a good player now. Watched him play last week. Got more from Coach. Had a big week already this week. Good player in the 2025 class, plus the high five power polls. Up next, it was hard to do, the public schools and boys baseball, but we'll do it anyway when we come back on No Gate Fees, presented by Nimnick Buick GMC. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access.
Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence.
You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need Strings Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
All right, where was this from? This is your team.
Yes, sir.
I was like trying to remember. I was like, I saw this. Where was this from? And this is your 14U team? No, how
14,
old?
Yep. 14U ball.
Yeah,
club
14U
right
team, and you guys went 5-0 over at the
5-0.
new Bregan Complex.
Yep, Fort Family. Nice little perfect game dub, third tournament win of the year.
All right. See, trying to collect those trophies. Dang it, you're playing right into this thing.
I know, man. I know. No guest players on
no
the
guest
team.
players.
Not a single guest player.
No hats on backwards.
No hats on backwards. We got a little bit too much eye black and dyed hair on one of our guys, but he gets a pass because he had to catch all 5 ball games.
Oh, wow, all 5.
Yeah, he had to catch all 5, but head coach John Gooden.
There you go, John.
Yep. Also over at Sandwood. I know there a lot of teams. Big week for Gateway Conference.
Yeah, Gateway Conference baseball's going. Last week it was softball. I think Baldwin won. Probably should have put that picture in. They won the Gateway last week, and the baseball's this week. And again, we got district play coming up in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from this week will be district play, and then on to the regionals, and we're at that time of year. And other sports too. I mean, flag football goes, a lot of flag football tonight in the area, and a bunch of stuff happening. All right, let's rock and roll through this. We're getting way behind. Committed to the Uncommitted, presented by Nimnik Buick GMC. And, it's interesting. I try to watch out for guys And somebody actually mentioned this young man to me, and then I saw him in action last Tuesday, pitched a really good game, squared it up a bunch. Sometimes the box score doesn't tell the story, folks. Don't get stuck in the box score all the time. And then other times you can. He went 3 for 4 against Bartram Trail the other night, hit a home run in the bottom of the 6th inning to win it, 11-10 in a wild game. And Cooper Kiker is his name. He's a class of 2025 guy. He's a right-handed pitcher, also plays the corner infield spots. Good-looking athlete, Hamby, too. Like, this is a guy that I think he's going to get looks. I mean, when we're going to junior class, he's heading into a big summer, and this will be an interesting summer. He's probably already getting looks, but he might like really elevate his game based on what he's doing in high school right now and summer performance. He's hitting like 333 if you care about the stats. He's a 6'3", 215-pound kid.
Yeah, good frame.
That's a good frame. And I don't know how much bigger he's going to get, but that's a big frame. Coach says, probably looking mid-major type of Division I that he can play there. We'll see where it fits. In this transfer portal world, you might drop down to like the good D2s too, which is no problem, by the way, young man. Go play ball and go play and have fun. Get on the field. Don't get wrapped up in where you're going. But Cooper Kiker is our Committed to the Uncommitted presented by Nimnick Buick GMC. We do a $2,500 scholarship program. We're having sophomores, juniors, and seniors this year. We prioritize the seniors, but we open it up to juniors in the baseball, softball world, and we'll continue to nominate folks and have a scholarship winner at the end of the year or sometime later on in the summer. Big thanks to all our folks that have supported the program the last couple of years, especially Nimnick Buick GMC. So Committed to the Uncommitted is Cooper Kiker. Good luck to him and the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets the rest of the season. All right, let's get to our high five power polls. Those are up next. And I think we're going, you tell me where we're going.
I'm going to go start with private school.
Private school baseball? All right, so Trinity Christian lost a couple of times up in North Carolina. So did St. John's Country Day, I believe. Trinity Christian just lost last night to University Christian. Well, that was a little after like the poll was kind of set. But I'm going to sit here and I'll tell you this. I still would put Trinity above St. John's Country Day.
Yeah, you're not moving them yet.
I think St. John's Country Day is good. They're good. To me, I don't know if dominant's the right word, because you don't have to be dominant. They got a good win last night on senior night, 4-0. I think they've got more holes potentially than like Trinity Christian. I mean, listen, we're talking, we're
splitting hairs.
Yeah, we're poking holes here, okay? St. John's Country Day dropped to 11th in the state. Trinity Christian held on to number 1 in the state, but they won't after last night's loss.
Right.
And I'll see them in person tomorrow night, so we'll get to see Trinity. But we know they're loaded with talent. Bowles is playing really well, really well. They won like 8 out of 9. And David Martin pitched a really good game last night for them to beat Matt Hogue, who's committed to Florida State from Ponte Vedra. Bishop Kenny, they win close games. They lose some close games, but I think they're dangerous. And I'm going to give a nod to Episcopal over Providence. I think Providence had some recent losses.
Right.
Episcopal's 15-5. That 5th spot's tough. Bishop Snyder, St. Joseph Academy. Like, there's some teams in there that can be in the mix. All right. How about, yeah, I know. This is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. Good luck.
And I don't know. Tokoi Creek was number 1 forever. They won 14 in a row, but they got beat by Creekside and Bartram Trail. Clay beat Creekside last night. They'll be playing Bartram later this week. Oakleaf has some good wins, but Clay and Oakleaf also have a good amount of losses. I think you could throw First Coast in here, Fernandina Beach in here. I think you can throw a bunch of schools in here. I mean, I don't know what to do with the top 5 in public school. I really don't. All right, and then we go, this one I've changed. It was Baldwin at the top. I just put Episcopal at the top. Baldwin lost last night. I think Episcopal's earned it. They're only lost 1-0 to Cavalry Christian. And then Middleburg is right there, even though they're the highest ranked team in the state out of those 3. And then Oakleaf, who beat Baldwin and has some really nice wins this year. And West Nassau's dangerous with that tough schedule. They play well this time of year. Man, a lot of good stuff coming down the stretch. All right, we're running out of time, right? Do I have to get out of here?
2 seconds.
Oh, goodbye.